Maxims from the Panchathantra, Part 2. Chapter 3. One should never trust a person who has consistently been an enemy but suddenly portrays friendliness. It is crucial to suppress your enemy and diseases from the very beginning, as allowing them to grow stronger can lead to your own destruction. The 6 diplomatic methods are as follows. 1. Peace. Seeking and maintaining peaceful relations. 2. War. Engaging in armed conflict to achieve one's objectives. 3. Retreat. Withdrawing or stepping back from a situation. 4. Entrenchment. Establishing a strong defensive position. 5. Seeking the help of allies, forming alliances and seeking support from other parties. 6. Intrigue. Employing strategic manipulation and cunning tactics to achieve goals. 4. A minister should express their honest opinion only when specifically asked for it, regardless of whether it is agreeable or not. If a minister merely flatters without providing genuine insights, they are not truly serving as a minister but rather acting as an enemy. 5. It is wise to make peace with an enemy who possesses comparable strength to you. In a battle between equals, the outcome is uncertain and victory hangs in the balance. Therefore, one should refrain from engaging in a fight unless they are confident in their chances of success. 6. Even a weak individual, if filled with determination and courage, can overcome a stronger enemy. Similar to how a lion can defeat an elephant and assert dominance over its territory, the power of inner fire and determination can lead to victory. 7. A ram retreats before launching an attack, and a lion crouches before pouncing on its prey. These actions showcase the strategic approach taken by these animals in their pursuit of victory or capturing their target. 8. A crocodile in water has the strength to drag an elephant, but once outside the water, it can be easily harassed by a mere dog. This highlights how different environments can affect the relative strengths and vulnerabilities of individuals or creatures. 9. A single archer, well entrenched in a strategic position, can withstand the onslaught of 100 enemy soldiers. The advantage of a well-fortified position and skilled marksmanship can significantly level the playing field and provide a strong defense against a larger opposing force. 10. The one who, when confronted with a formidable enemy, abandons their position instead of fortifying it, will never regain that position again. This highlights the importance of standing firm and defending one's ground in the face of adversity, rather than fleeing from the challenge. 11. When facing a powerful enemy, the most effective approach is often to employ intrigue or strategic manipulation. Direct confrontation may not be as effective, and therefore, using cunning tactics and strategic maneuvers can yield better results in dealing with a formidable adversary. 12. The wise first puff up the enemy and afterwards destroy them. 13. Animals rely on their sense of smell for guidance. Brahmins seek guidance through the Vedas. Kings gather information through spies, and ordinary people rely on their 2 eyes for perception and understanding. 14. Just like a boat without a helmsman drift aimlessly with the tide, the people suffer when their king neglects them. Therefore, it is unwise to place your trust in such a king, just as you would not trust a sinking ship in the vast ocean. 15. It is advisable to avoid certain individuals, such as a teacher who does not fulfill their role of teaching, a Brahmin who neglects the study of the Vedas, a wife with a sharp tongue, a cowherd in a town setting, and a barber who aspires to become a sannyasi, a renunciant. 16. A barber is the most cunning amongst men, a crow amongst birds, a jackal amongst animals, and a white-robed Jain muni amongst hermits. 17. Once a plan is formulated in consultation with a wise individual, it is less likely to go astray. Seeking the guidance and advice of a wise person increases the chances of success and minimizes the risk of errors or missteps in the execution of the plan. 18. Merely uttering the name of a great person can assist in overcoming difficulties. The reputation and influence of a renowned individual can have a positive impact and potentially provide support or assistance in challenging situations. 19. A messenger should ideally possess qualities such as intelligence, a pleasing appearance, and a selfless nature. They should be skilled in engaging in conversations and have a comprehensive understanding of the Shastras, sacred texts. Furthermore, an effective messenger is someone who can grasp the thoughts and feelings of other individuals. 20. Our bodies are subject to decay and even our wealth is not everlasting. We confront the reality of death constantly, highlighting the importance of living in accordance with the Shastra's sacred texts. A person who lives a life devoid of religious principles is comparable to an ironsmith's bellows that operates mechanically without any true vitality. 21. The sages have proclaimed non-violence to be the fundamental principle of true religion. 22. Anyone who engages in unjust arbitration, driven by pride, greed, anger, or fear, will undoubtedly face the consequences in the form of hell. 23. While wounds inflicted by arrows or swords have the potential to heal, the wounds inflicted by hurtful words are not easily mended. 24. A wise person, no matter how strong or powerful, does not intentionally create enemies for themselves. 25. No wise man should speak ill of others in an assembly, even if it is the truth, for it may lead to his own downfall. 26. Many individuals are easily deceived by the cunning words of a dishonest person, the feigned politeness of a newly hired servant, the captivating conversations of guests, and the insincere tears of a woman. 27. A wise person never initiates something that they cannot accomplish or complete successfully. 28. A weak individual, who is primarily concerned with their own well-being, would never consider provoking their enemy. 29. As I travel the wide world in search of virtue, I realize that there is no greater virtue than yours. It is certain that I must hold onto your friendship, for just as the impure turns pure upon reaching the sacred Ganges, I find purity and virtue in my association with you. 30. The conch shell is a bone that has been purified by the touch of Vishnu's hand. It symbolizes the noble pride that one gains from being in the company of righteous and virtuous individuals. 31. A person who praises you openly but constantly engages in whispered slanders behind your back should be avoided. Such a friend is like a poison jug with cream, appearing pleasant on the surface but containing harmful intentions beneath. 32. He lifts his hands to greet you when you appear. His eyes filled with fake tears to show he cares. He offers you half of his chair to sit. And hugs you tightly as if you're a dear friend. He talks incessantly, asking endless questions. But behind his words, there are hidden deceptions. His skill in trickery is truly remarkable. Sweet words on the surface, but poison in the core. What kind of game is this strange charade? Where every villain learns to play his part. At first, their friendship shines with false light. With service, flattery, and delightful sights. But as it progresses, it fails to bear fruit. Leaving only empty promises, a hollow pursuit. And in the end, it leads to betrayal and shame. Disgust and slander that tarnish your name. Alas, who created such a wretched thing? Its sole purpose is to cause harm and sting. They bow before you, their actions contrived. Their words seductive, meant to deceive. They chase after you, eager to greet. With pretentious displays of affection complete. They shower you with compliments and praise. But when it comes to action, they're always in a haze. They promise loyalty, devotion so strong. But in reality, it's a facade all along. They speak of virtue, but fail to act. Their empty words and promises intact. They keep you close, yet never fulfill the obligations and duties they should instill. 33. When wealth and status align, and family backgrounds intertwine, marriage and friendship tend to endure. But not when there's a rich-poor allure. 34. The bee, driven by its insatiable greed for honey, abandons the safe haven of the lotus pool, where there is no danger, to sip the elixir that drips from the foreheads of elephants in springtime, unfazed by the flapping of those colossal ears. 35. Ambition, fueled by the desire for rewards, blinds one to the perils that lie ahead. In their pursuit of greater gains, people often abandon the delights of the present, preferring to seek more laborious sustenance. in their overconfidence and trust in deceitful individuals. People often reject the readily available goodness. 36. The branch of a fruit tree, burdened by abundant fruit, bows down low with its weight. The proud peacock, adorned with magnificent feathers, moves with a slow and dignified gait. The race-winning horse, of noble lineage, must be led like a docile cow. Goodness often encounters opposition, even within the realm of goodness itself. 37. Those who rise through virtue may also fall by virtue's hand. The virtuous person is often despised by the ruler, while riches often cling to scoundrels and fools. The ancient saying, "By great virtue is man defined," has lost its significance, as the world pays little attention to acts of courage and valor. Sad and subdued, lions lose their fierce nature when confined within cages. Captive elephants bear the marks and wounds from the prodding of their drive as goads. Charms can render cobras harmless, and scholars and soldiers can be defeated by despair. Time, the trickster, amuses himself by toying with his chosen subjects. 38. The bee, driven by its insatiable greed for honey, abandons the safe haven of the lotus pool, where there is no danger, to sip the elixir that drips from the foreheads of elephants in springtime, unfazed by the flapping of those colossal ears. The greedy human forgets the consequences of their actions. 39. Indeed, the greedy human, driven by their insatiable desires, often becomes blind to the potential consequences of their actions. Fueled by their own selfishness, they disregard the impact their choices may have on themselves and others. Their pursuit of personal gain and material wealth blinds them to the moral and ethical implications of their behavior. They fail to consider the long-term effects of their actions, both on their own well-being and on the well-being of those around them. In their relentless quest for more, they neglect to see the harm they may cause and the negative repercussions that may follow. The greed-driven individual becomes trapped in a cycle of self-interest, oblivious to the potential harm they inflict upon themselves and others. 40. In the diverse world of beings, it is observed that not only the uneducated but also the learned can display a mean and deceitful nature. They are capable of acting both virtuously and wickedly with equal swiftness. 41. The wise acknowledge and understand that there is no gift of cows, food, or land that can compare to the immense value of safety provided when it is needed. They recognize that the assurance of protection and security is a priceless gift that surpasses all other material offerings. 42. Protecting the chieftain of the clan is paramount, no matter the hardships endured. If he is lost, the clan's existence is jeopardized. Just like spokes without a hub, their efforts become futile and ineffective. 43. When misfortune befalls their master, servants who remain unharmed and unaffected by the adversity often choose the path that leads them to hell. 44. A servant who, out of loyal love and devotion, sacrifices their life for their master, is honored with a high position in heaven, where they are free from the hardships of old age and death. 45. It is wise to ignore insignificant things. There is no point in indulging in something that is inherently evil and does not bring satisfaction or fulfillment. 46. The lives of servants are dependent on their masters, and their fate is often tied to their employment. The master does not commit a sin by dismissing or letting go of servants, as it is within their rights and responsibilities as the employer. 47. It is not surprising that a monarch takes pleasure in the company of gentlemen, as their honorable behavior remains consistent throughout, regardless of the circumstances or time. 48. A king who surrounds himself with incompetent or unworthy advisors fails to bring benefits to his subjects. 49. Soft water, like gentle words, can erode and diminish the mightiest of mountains, leaving them changed. Similarly, those who possess the skill to spread rumors and gossip can destroy a person's reputation. 50. Some people attain heaven through acts of giving, self-denial, and enduring trials and sacrifices. They gradually progress towards their goal. However, those who willingly sacrifice their lives in brave and noble struggles find swift and immediate entry into heaven. 51. Those who are slain in battle ascend to the heavens, while the victorious warriors continue to live in joy and triumph. Heroes find contentment in either of these outcomes, knowing that their sacrifice or victory has brought them honor and fulfillment. 52. Glamorous maidens adorned with precious gems and gold, the regal symbol of a fly flap, thrones, horses, elephants, and wealth. These are the delights and symbols of power. But they are not meant for the cowardly and weak-hearted, for they are reserved for those who possess strength, courage, and the spirit of a true monarch. 53. Even with the mightiest of heroes, victory may whimsically favor someone else. Therefore, it is wise to explore alternative methods before resorting to extreme measures. Only when all other options have been exhausted should one consider taking drastic actions. 54. Prioritize personal safety and avoid unnecessary confrontations that can lead to dire consequences. 55. It is quite absurd to imagine a small and timid creature like a rabbit attempting to imitate the actions of a mighty elephant, such as creating a massive dung pile. 56. Putting in dedicated and focused effort is the key to achieving success. Recognizing your capabilities and saying to yourself, "I have the power, I can," empowers you to think strategically, take action, and ultimately reap the rewards of your well-thought-out plans. 57. Forethought and readiness thrive, while fatalism cannot sustain life. 58. Since scamps, sneaks, and snakes frequently embark on unsuccessful plans, the world continues to thrive and move forward. 59. Horses, elephants, and iron. Water, women, and men. Sticks, stones, and clothes are made for different uses. 60. Success finds its roots in a determined will. In possessing a resolute strength within. To attain the highest glory, one must show enterprise and manly strain. The sun must first ascend to Libra's scale before he dispels the cloudy time. 61. For what is lost and dead and past, the wise do not lament. The difference between the wise and fools is simply this distinction. Fools borrow needless sorrow, adding sadness to the sad, making pain double tomorrow. 62. When it comes to bidding farewell to departed loved ones, it is best to bury them with dignity and composure. 63. A true friend is someone who stands by your side in times of need, regardless of their social status or background. However, it is important to recognize that the world around you may appear friendly and supportive as long as you possess wealth and riches. 64. Seek a wise companion. Intelligent, knowledgeable, virtuous, and kind. For the plans crafted together will never be undermined. 65. Heed the counsel of the elderly, for they possess wisdom and experience. 66. Do not humiliate a servant who displays merit, loyalty, and noble ways. Treat him like a cherished son. And watch your business prosper and be well done. 67. A loyal servant may be willing to sacrifice their life, but they refrain from engaging in actions that would bring them scorn from others and diminish their standing in the eyes of their master. 68. The wise suggest that masters should bear the consequences of their servants' misdeeds, as long as they do not neglect to remove from their service those who are wicked and cruel. 69. A well-devised estranging scheme the firmest prudence shocks, as constant floods of water split the mountain's close-piled rocks. 70. If a person reads and comprehends numerous books but fails to apply that knowledge to their own benefit, their learning is essentially pointless. Their books become a burden instead of a source of wisdom. 71. Speak kindly and sweetly like sugar, but toughen your heart without remorse. Do not hesitate or waver in your words, and seek retribution for the wrongs you've endured. 72. With sufficient wit, one can attain understanding. 73. Achieve great feats, and overcome all challenges. 74. Escape and distance don't ensure impunity. For the clever one's far-reaching grasp reaches those who thoughtlessly transgress, and makes them face the consequences at last. 75. Beware of a house where serpents crawl, a forest with ferocious beasts enthralled, a lotus pond concealing crocodiles, A place tarnished by slanderous wiles. 76. A timid servant fails to discern the direction of the king's concern. 77. True counselors of statecraft shine, resolving conflicts with design, preventing reckless strife and feud, which threaten lives in magnitude. But those who pursue petty goals inflict punishment and impose tolls, with wrong and folly as their guide, endanger kingdom and the king's stride. 78. Wise individuals prioritize reconciliation and seek peaceful resolutions, as the triumphs achieved through peaceful means are enduring and unmarred by frustration. 79. Lord Brahma advises statesmen to prioritize conciliation as their initial approach, urging them to delay or avoid harsh actions which are considered the most detrimental of all actions. 80. Peace, not the sun's rays, sparkling gems, or fiery sparks, has the power to dispel darkness from the hearts of bitter enemies. Choose peaceful methods instead of harsh ones to resolve your quarrel. Use sweetness like sugar, not bitterness, to soothe a troubled mind. 81. There are 3 doors that wisdom can unlock: peace, clever strategy, and bribery. The 4th key to achieving success in conflicts is simple and straightforward, demonstrating true courage and integrity. 82. It can be considered weak and unmanly to display limited physical strength but possess great intelligence. On the other hand, having power without intelligence is nothing more than behaving like a brute animal. 83. Snakes, lions, elephants, fire, water, wind, and sun possess inherent power. However, without proper direction or purpose, this power brings little benefit or advantage. 84. What is the purpose of learning if it does not diminish our passions, promote self-control, and guide us towards virtue? If it fails to shape our minds and lead us towards a fulfilling path, but instead becomes a mere pursuit of recognition without gaining fame or inner peace. 85. A scamp is incapable of advancing the work of others, but can only corrupt it. Similarly, a mole can uproot a mulberry tree but cannot save it from destruction. 86. In the treatises on statesmanship, the subject is divided into 5 main aspects. These include proper inception, which involves starting off in the right way; resources, both human and material, which are necessary for the pursuit of statesmanship; determining the appropriate place and time for actions; devising countermeasures to address unforeseen circumstances; and ultimately achieving successful outcomes in the pursuit of statesmanship. 87. The wisdom of a counselor is truly tested in his ability to mend and maintain friendships. 88. Educating sluggish wit does not diminish pride but nurtures it. While others find aid to their vision in the sunlight, owls go blind. 89. Education should dispel man's foolishness and pride, but if it nurtures them instead, who can cure the educated man? Remedies are useless when even heavenly nectar becomes poison to him. 90. Monarchs who adopt plans from mean and vicious individuals, and refuse to follow the advice of wise counsel, willingly enter into the cage of misadventure where adversaries rage. Their escape from such a situation is difficult and fraught with challenges. 91. The entire world desires to serve a master whose entourage is composed of virtuous and righteous individuals. 92. Monarchs, despite their good intentions, often repel others due to their misguided actions. Just like sweet and calm waters may seem inviting, one should be cautious of hidden dangers, like the lurking crocodile. 93. Kings are meant to shine in the realm of society, not in isolation. Those who desire kings to be alone are indeed their adversaries. 94. Harsh comments and criticism can be beneficial, as they are not poison. In contrast, flattery should be seen as treason, not as true nourishment or bliss. 95. If you feel upset or resentful upon witnessing the happiness and prosperity of others, that is indeed a wicked sentiment. 96. Those who attempt to gain friends through betrayal, seek righteous outcomes through deceit, acquire property by harming their neighbors, attain knowledge without putting in effort, or try to win a woman's love through arrogant behavior are indeed foolish individuals who undermine themselves. 97. The happiness of the subjects brings joy and courage to the monarch. Just as the sea would be dull without the waves sparkling with gems, a ruler's delight relies on the well-being of their people. 98. A servant should exhibit a modest and humble demeanor according to the position they are favored with. It is fitting for them to conduct themselves in a manner that reflects their subordinate role. 99. The truly great remain steadfast and resolute even in the face of challenges. Just as the vast ocean remains unperturbed by the shifting tides, they are not swayed by minor disturbances. It is the small-minded who are easily influenced and prone to change, while the noblest individuals can endure with grace even in the midst of adversity. 100. In their pursuit of virtue, wealth, and love, foolish kings often make the mistake of seeking advice from wicked individuals who only pretend to possess administrative competence. These misguided rulers are ignorant of the 6 strategies and 4 devices for achieving success. They lack the necessary understanding and wisdom to make sound decisions and rely on unreliable sources, leading them astray in their endeavors. 101. When faced with an enemy much stronger than yourself, it is wise to prioritize your personal safety. In such situations, it is advisable to surrender and give up everything, including money and possessions, as they can be easily regained later. The value of preserving your life outweighs any material losses, as once lost, life cannot be recovered. 102. Love, broken, can't be fixed by pretense. 103. Defeat foes before they grow in strength. 104. Kings who prefer flattery and weak followers, ignoring those with strength and integrity, will lose their power and be overtaken by stronger adversaries and enemies. 105. Certain things should be done only once. A king's word, once spoken, is binding. The words of saints are always true. A maiden is given in marriage only once. 106. All predetermined events, arising from prior conditions, must remain unaltered. Even the gods themselves endured their destined fate. 107. The character of sons reflects upon their father. Who would expect an emblic fruit from a screw pine tree? 108. No matter how you educate minds unfit, sluggish wit cannot be readily lit. Like house lamps hidden in a covered jar, education's efforts go wasted, by far. 109. Sons can be classified into 4 distinct categories, discerned by those with perceptive minds. There are the born sons, who are naturally talented and capable. Then there are the like-born sons, who possess similar qualities and traits to their fathers. The better-born sons are considered superior, exceeding the abilities of their predecessors. Lastly, there are the worse-born sons, who are looked down upon and scorned for their inferiority. 110. The sons who are born resemble their mother in appearance and traits. The like-born sons live their lives similar to their father. The better-born sons display more noble actions. On the other hand, the worse-born sons have moral deficiencies and detract from the family's reputation. 111. A mother finds her son in the one who possesses far-reaching wisdom, great wealth, or significant power, as they have the ability to uplift the family. 112. Beauty that merely strikes the eye is not difficult to come across, but wisdom and far-reaching power of mind are rare and precious gems. 113. People who possess a noble and right-minded nature often fail to perceive the hidden deceit of those who are wrong-minded. 114. Wrong-minded people squander their wealth due to their indulgence in unwise spending and their inherent vulnerability determined by fate. 115. A person who is straight-minded considers others' wealth as insignificant, mere mud and never desire it. They never desire their neighbor's spouses and consider the life of other human beings as his own life. 117. The strongest evidence is the written word, followed by witnesses who saw and heard the events firsthand. Only when there is a lack of witnesses should ordeals be used as a means of judgment. 118. Ordeals should never be relied upon, especially when the witnesses are of low credibility. And certainly, they should be avoided altogether if you have the testimony of a trusted and honorable source. 119. Before embracing any scheme, it is essential for wise individuals to carefully consider both the potential benefits and drawbacks associated with it. 120. Speak with a smooth and persuasive tongue, but remain firm and resolute in your heart. Incite your enemy into action, leading to their downfall and the division within their own faction. 121. The elements of earth, heaven, and death, along with the sentient mind. The sun, moon, water, fire, and wind combined. Both the periods of twilight, justice, day, and night. They all bear witness to discern mankind's actions, wrong or right. 122. Fools, with their overly cunning wisdom, inadvertently bring harm and destruction to their own families. 123. Household peace is shattered when women disagree. Secrets come to an end when not kept well. Families are destroyed by a wicked son's spell. 124. The mouths of snakes and scoundrels bear a savage stamp. They are rough and ruthless, only causing harm and damp. When the tongue is double, be wary of the trouble it brings. For deceit and mischief are what it often sings. 125. A rascal's trust is not something I would give. Their ways are familiar to me, and I know how they live. Like a petted and pampered serpent that bites the hand that feeds. Their actions are treacherous, fulfilling their deceitful deeds. 126. Just as a fire will burn, regardless of the wood it ignites. A rascal remains a rascal, no matter how noble his birthrights. The quality of one's character cannot be masked or misunderstood. For a rascal is a rascal, even if born into a lineage of good. 127. Every self-promoting traitor. Adept at spreading slander. Fate consigns to destruction those who succumb to his clutches. 128. Any tongue that engages in slander, without being restrained or censured, is as stubborn as adamant, refusing to be divided or stopped. Oh, may no harm ever come to the noble-hearted individual who holds love for all beings, and keeps silent when others' faults are mentioned. Betraying a friend in their distress leads to a path of certain distress. Wicked people who destroy lives are dangerous to be around. They are like snakes that bite everyone they encounter. A wife whose husband is not pleased with her cannot truly be called a wife. However, a woman who brings happiness to her husband earns the respect and admiration of the gods. While a father, brother, and son give within certain boundaries, a wife naturally desires to please her husband, especially when he goes above and beyond those limits. A house without a wife cannot be called a home, it's a desert. Young girls often reject men whose hair has turned gray. They tend to be hesitant towards individuals with a limp or a bent body. If conflicts arise among your enemies, it can work in your favor. A wise man should arrange his daughter's marriage to someone who meets the following 7 criteria. Coming from a good family, possessing good character, being capable of taking care of a family, having education, possessing wealth, being physically fit, and being of suitable age. The one who foresees an impending disaster and takes appropriate action can avoid it. However, the person who fails to anticipate the disaster will face unfortunate consequences. When fear grips you, it can leave you feeling paralyzed, unable to speak a single word. An unfortunate person perceives their enemies as friends and unknowingly harms their true friends. They confuse what is good with what is bad, mistaking evil for good and good for evil. When the king's ministers lack foresight, it becomes difficult for the king to rule for a long time. The statement suggests that the effectiveness and longevity of a king's reign depend on the wisdom and vision of their ministers. If the ministers lack the ability to anticipate and plan for the future, it can hinder the stability and success of the king's rule. If the king's ministers lack foresight, it becomes challenging for the king to maintain a long rule. If someone procrastinates on tasks that should be completed promptly, it angers the gods. As a consequence, the gods create obstacles that hinder their progress. A person who has abandoned the service of the enemy and switched to the other side should never be trusted. It is advisable to always avoid them. A determined person endures their enemy's presence, even in challenging situations, without being affected by honor or insults. They patiently wait for the right moment to accomplish their goal. If even a small amount of debt remains unpaid, the last trace of fire is left unextinguished, or the last trace of sickness remains uncured after treatment, they will resurface repeatedly. Similarly, enemies who survive a battle can pose a threat again in the future. These issues can persist unless they are completely eradicated or resolved. Ordinary people may give up on a task when faced with challenges, leaving it unfinished. However, superior individuals are determined and persistent, never giving up regardless of the difficulties they encounter. Those who look down on insignificant work, because they think it's too easy, do it carelessly, and, one day, regret it. A king who neglects his duty to protect and care for his subjects is as useless as an old goat's hanging neck teat. However, a king who values virtue, despises vices, and recognizes the worth of loyal and capable servants will ensure the prosperity and longevity of his kingdom. Such a king will be cherished and remembered throughout the ages. A king should not be deceived by the grandeur of kingship, for although it may be difficult to attain, like climbing up a bamboo, it can vanish in an instant. It is as restless as a monkey, as fleeting as dewdrops on a lotus leaf, as changeable as the wind, as unreliable as the friendship of the wicked, as transient as the colors in the sky at sunset, and as unstable as water bubbles. Kingship is a fleeting and unpredictable state, and a wise king understands its impermanence. Seek a rare friendship with the shrewd and upright man, for their company is valuable. Exercise cautious care when dealing with the shrewd and false, for they may deceive you. Show pity for the upright fool, as they may lack wisdom but still possess goodness in their heart. However, if a man is both foolish and false, it is best to shun him and keep your distance. The wretched of mankind is the one who, after losing his wealth, continues to live in places where he once spent his money luxuriously. The neighbors gossip and criticize the person who has fallen into poverty, seeing it as a disgrace. This is because the individual used to be part of their social circle, displaying pride and extravagance. Every deed, even those motivated by love, may contain a trace of fear or greed, or serve a selfish purpose. Wherever there is affectionate attention given without expecting anything in return, one might wonder if there is no underlying sense of hesitation or fear. On earth, cowards criticize the brave. Low-born scoundrels condemn the nobly raised. Misers find fault with generous hearts. Incompatible lovers despise the charmer's arts. Rogues criticize the righteous with disdain. Unfortunate ones resent the fortunate gain. Lastly, scholars often bear the taunting jest. Enduring fools reproach with weary zest. Learned men are hated by fools. The rich are hated by the less fortunate. Men of virtue are hated by the vicious. And the chaste are hated by the promiscuous. Wise men, even, follow their innate nature, carrying out what it bids them to do. Nature always guides their actions. So what purpose does punishment serve? Instruction holds value solely for those who comprehend and grasp the words spoken to them. Living alongside a fool, whether in a house, village, town, or nation, is an absolute evil, despite the possibility of avoiding all disputes and legal conflicts. It is better to plunge into the sea or fire, to descend into hell or the deepest pit, than to associate with someone who lacks wit or intelligence. With the company of the bad or good, vice or virtue clings. Just as the breezes, in their distant wanderings, carry foul or sweet odors on their restless wings. Our education, both good and bad, has had obvious consequences in our lives. Simply being in the company of the wicked is itself an evil. The truly self-respecting man discovers his worth, capabilities, and potential by exploring and experiencing different cultures and perspectives. He deserves respect, takes risks, and possesses a deep understanding of the world by venturing into unfamiliar territories. In the face of inevitable death, even the most astute individuals cannot escape its arrival. A noble spirit, however, serves humanity and finds bliss in fulfilling that purpose, transcending the fear of death itself. Better the sensible enemy than the foolish friend. When the wicked hold sway, and sow discord among friends along the way, with cunning schemes and deceitful acts, all endeavors result in unfortunate mishaps. The saint, in times of greatest need, avoids the stain of sinful deed, engaging only in actions that bring no shame, upholding an honorable name and fame. The wise, even in times of need, perform deeds that honor their creed. The wise man never treats wrong as right, for he knows the distinction in clear sight. Just as none would drink water from the street, he rejects wrongdoing, staying true and discreet. Lands lost can be regained with time, but loyal servants, once gone, are a grime, for their loss brings a deeper pain, while lost lands can be reclaimed again. No one leaves a father, brother, son, or loyal friend to face treason alone, for those who value their own well-being will never tolerate treachery's sting. A compassionate king, a negligent magistrate, a willful wife, a friend with thoughts of treason, a gluttonous Brahmin, or a sullen servant. Let them all depart, for those who do not know their duties and responsibilities have no place. Seek genuine joy wherever it may be found. Learn from anyone who possesses wisdom, regardless of age. Devote your life to selfless acts for the happiness of others. Do not do wrong, even if it requires sacrificing a part of yourself. Monarchs should strive to transcend ordinary behavior, for what may be considered a vice in others can be seen as a virtue in a ruler's actions and decisions. King's policy, like the nature of a fickle woman, can be unpredictable and inconsistent. At times it hoards wealth, at times it squanders it. It can be both rough and flattering, kind and cruel, demanding and generous, simultaneously false and true in its actions and intentions. The gods of wealth, war, water, and fire have all experienced both victories and defeats. For even they, with all their power and might, cannot always control the outcome of their plans. Because true victory is not solely determined by the will of men or gods alone. Those who lack understanding in the matters of governance are ignorant of the fact that stirring up conflicts leads to the downfall of those who once enjoyed mutual friendship. It is not the practice of wise counselors to advise a ruler to engage in conflict when their goals can be achieved through peaceful means such as conciliation, bribery, or intrigue. Engaging in unnecessary battles can bring the ruler into grave danger and jeopardize their ambitions. Wisdom does not reside in engaging in unnecessary fights and conflicts. It is often the fools who resort to violence as a means of resolving their differences. The wise, on the other hand, seek knowledge and guidance from wise books and teachings to understand what is truly wise and right. They find delight in the knowledge that peaceful and nonviolent approaches can lead to positive outcomes. The pursuit of wisdom involves seeking peaceful resolutions, promoting harmony, and understanding the long-term consequences of one's actions. In a palace where the servants are kind, humble, and virtuous, unyielding to the temptations of greed, the honor of the royal remains secure, unmoved by the struggles of enemies. Speaking the truth, even if it is harsh, is a sign of sincerity and integrity, while flattery and empty words, such as blarney, breed true enmity. The firefly may resemble a flame, the sky may appear flat. Yet neither the sky nor the firefly is what they seem at that. Similarly, the truth may sometimes appear false, the false may seem true. Deceptive are appearances, so careful thought is due. A wise master should not blindly trust the advice of a servant who lacks administrative sense. This is because deceitful servants, driven by personal gain, may present matters to the master in a distorted manner, using persuasive speech to confuse and mislead. Let fit and friendly counsel first, and more than once, be heard. Then ponder on the plan proposed from first to final word. Then act, and harvest fame and wealth, avoiding the absurd. A wise master should not allow himself to be easily swayed by the counsel of others. Instead, he should always be mindful of the differences in people and their perspectives. He should carefully consider the potential outcomes and consequences of different advice, responses, and timing for action. As the master, he should possess wisdom and an understanding of the intricate complexities of his responsibilities. By doing so, he can fulfill his duties effectively. Highly intelligent and knowledgeable individuals can successfully achieve their goals even when faced with limited financial resources. Their abilities and resourcefulness enable them to find effective solutions and overcome obstacles. They prioritize their skills and expertise over material wealth, allowing them to accomplish their objectives efficiently. A tree that brings joy to many creatures is a blessed tree. It provides shelter to birds, shade for resting deer, nectar for bees, and habitats for insects. Monkeys even find delight in its presence. Such a tree holds great value. On the other hand, there are trees that serve no purpose and only occupy space on the earth. Ravan, despite his intelligence, failed to recognize the wrongness of stealing another man's wife. Rama, too, was deceived and failed to realize that a golden deer could never be real. Yudhishthira, known for his wisdom, fell into the trap of gambling without understanding the disastrous consequences it would bring. These examples show that when fortune is against a person, it clouds their judgment and obscures their intelligence. Once the mind is ensnared by destiny's grip, even the most eminent individuals can lose their discernment and be led astray towards unintended and twisted outcomes. The power of fate can sway even the noblest minds, causing them to deviate from their intended path and make decisions that may have unforeseen and unfavorable consequences. As long as one's judgment remains steadfast and reliable, no matter the difficulties or hardships faced, individuals can eventually overcome their sorrows and find solace and happiness on the other side. With clear thinking and wise decision-making, people can navigate through challenging times and emerge into a state of contentment and well-being. Sound judgment leads to ultimate solace and happiness, even amidst distress. We must unite in purpose and act together to overcome challenges. Disunity leads to downfall and failure. The single-bodied birds, known as the barunda, serve as an example of the consequences of disunity. Despite having a single body, they had two necks that were at odds with each other. This led to their suffering, as they struggled to agree on a suitable diet and nourishment. As long as the people remain in agreement and unity, they can successfully carry away the fatal snare. However, their harmony is fragile, and once they start to disagree, they become vulnerable and fall under evil grip. As long as people remain united and in agreement, they have the strength to overcome challenges and avoid pitfalls. However, when discord and disagreement arise, they become vulnerable to the influence of evil and negative forces.